Please welcome Miss Carolina Salazar Esquer.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. My pleasure and my honor. As we already established, the rule is to keep the microphones mute. And if you have an idea you would like to share, feel free to use the chat box, and we are going to open 2 or 3 moments for questions and answers, right? Let me know if we are ready now to start. Yes?
Yes, I think we are all.
Sure. Yes, we are ready.
Yes, Miss.
Thank you for such a warm welcome. And here's the presentation slide, just a second. Here we go. Now, from Campus Publishing, I have been invited to participate with you today. So happy. So may you all be very welcome. Today's idea is to provide you with a bunch of ideas and tools which you can systematically include in your lesson planning, right? So all of these, feel free to take screenshots, write down the notes. That's what I do when I attend webinars. I still like attending webinars or inside conferences, and I'm always writing down some ideas. Feel free to use the chat box at any moment. Moderators, please let me know if there is an interesting idea so I can make a pause and continue later with the talk, because the interaction and the reason I am here is for the previous interaction I had with groups or crews of teachers like the ones we have today at very different levels. There will be a moment that if I grab a very interesting idea from you, you will be encouraged to open microphone to expand your idea. Activity 1, well, previous or warm-up activity. If you have your device with you, please scan this QR code and answer the very short poll I have. It's only 4 questions. And we have a link in the chat. Can you help me share the link? Is it here already? I previously shared the link. Maybe Anga or someone can help me set the link in the chat so they can just click and continue. Done. Oh, thank you. Done. Thank you. Somebody's done already. Thank you. So if you're ready, done. Excellent. It's very quick, very quick. So according to what's your concern, gonna go through the webinar, guiding you to overcome these needs. And honestly, what I have found here and there, America, Asia, Europe, South America, generally, the main concern is pretty similar, so I will not be surprised with your ideas and what the students lack and need and demand for. What I realize is that the last generations tend to be kind of more mature and they learn faster than we did on our school days. Thank you. I see a bunch of done here in the chat box. Thank you so much for your participation. So I think in this moment, I'm going to stop sharing this and search for the graphic so we can see it all together. Here we go. Let's search for the graphic. Oh, 105 answers. Wow, thank you. This overcomes my expectation. It's like 400 plus attendee, right? So the colors don't lie. What's your main concern? And we can see 30% will be the course contents, but near 50%, it's about students' behavior. I'm not surprised. So let's dominate the classroom with nice techniques and great evaluation tools that encourage students' attention. Now it's more than 52%. And only 8.7% are mentioning evaluation tools. For this 8%, I can say something. If Mentari Group invites me later, I can create a webinar exactly for evaluation tools, all right? So we can work on this later in a few more months, because even though it's a small percentage, it's something that we are worried about. Supplemental material, how to get it. When I was a teacher in junior high school, I'm sorry, mute the microphone, please. When I was a teacher, I used to spend weekends watching videos and creating handouts for those videos because I wanted the implementation of videos, and the course book that I had in that school didn't have videos. So I had to search for them and create. So when editorials like Compass and companies like Mentari are providing you with this material, it's the beginning. It doesn't mean you cannot enrich, but it's not a must. It's just an option. So your main concern so far, it's about students' behavior, half of it, course contents follows, and then supplemental material. So today's session, it's more or less going around what we are concerned. Second, and very interesting, you are strong using songs and games with kids. Bravo, that's fantastic, because it's what keeps the classes more dynamic and with the rhythm and with the chants and tones we memorize best. 18% it's for teaching grammar. So you feel already pretty strong about teaching grammar. I'm going to mention some methodologies, and our books, as you're following them, they offer plenty of resources so you can teach grammar in more effective, meaningful way. With meaningful, I mean, it has a significant relevance for my learners. And again, the test design, it's very little. So you don't feel strong in test design, but at the same time, we don't feel worried about it. So it's kind of a combination here. Remember, appropriate evaluation tool can guarantee your success in the course itself, because if they are evaluated through projects, you keep them busy learning and they don't misbehave. They will be working as best as they can. And last but not least, in your opinion, what is something kids enjoy in class? Communicative teamwork. Yes, I had beautiful experience in junior high school, bilingual, teaching geography and history. And they had a system of projects, but it was kind of silent method. All the instructions were in paper for the students, and they had to follow the instructions from paper, use the book, and at the end, hand in the project, and it was 20% of the grade. That's what I mean with evaluation tool. When we give value to every stage or every class, they are kind of more concerned of what they are doing and the quality. So this communicative teamwork, when it's learning from themselves, the filter lowers, but when it's the teacher, it's like, oh, the teacher again. So having teamwork and the way we group the students also means a lot, like how we intentionally plant or group some students in different teams. Coloring and handcrafts, of course, even adults. In University Language Center, I told my students, for next Saturday, it was this kind of Saturday from 9 to 1, all morning, single class. So it was kind of a challenge, the lesson plan. And I asked them to bring those big flip chart papers and markers. They were university students. You should see the body language and the expectation the next Saturday. They were more excited. They were more willing, because it's like just taking them beyond the book, the course book, and the routine breaks it. And the second successful strategy I did for this handcrafts and motivation, because it was university and 5-hour class, I challenged them to make a video of themselves in a role play with a specific task, every student. It was so successful, but this is for more adults with cell phones. In classrooms for primary, I don't think they are allowed to bring cell phones. It's not even safe. So this is just for university. Thank you for your opinion. How many answers? 153. Thank you so much. I'm ready to start now, because now I know a bit more about you. So let's come back to this. Now, this is abstract. Abstract, I like it to keep it as guidance, because sometimes when I'm writing the webinar, I get passionate with something I like. So I like to put it here to remember what's the aim. So let's read here that we are describing engaging activities. I already started, but I'm going to display graphics that help more. And when we're following the Common European Framework, it's super important that we master the 4 skills. No skills can be overstimulated or left behind. We take students gradually from simple sentences or words to complete ideas. How can I do that, Carol? We are going to revise today some ideas. And reading and writing are critical skills. I was, when I was a student, a young one, like primary, junior high school, the school was good, but the grading system, until university, is that I was taught correctly how to write academic papers. So in my basic education, I was left with just some single sentences and some paragraphs. So what I want to demonstrate here, Campus Publishing has embraced these 4 methodologies: stealth, 4-strand, scaffolding, and CLIL. And you can find them repeatedly in most of our series. One series might have more, for example, stealth for the younger ones, which is about learning with games. Each of them in red is going to be addressed one by one this morning. Aim that we understand why the books are written like this, the books I'm using, and what is it that it's offering physically and digital, and then a bit of sharing and discussing about your ideas on implementation of primary books. Today, we're going to go, my favorite, some academic theories I have learned when I was trained by the ICELT for Cambridge. I learned some theories that were super relevant when I was a teacher in classroom. When you're a coordinator and or teacher, decision-making is critical. By heart and logical, we make decisions. But if you have been trained and you study, as I say, the misters, okay, these people who have done research, I'm going to mention a few of them. These theories give you informed decision, right? So in classroom, you need to solve problems. In lesson planning, you need to improve something. So when you have studied the theories, it's easier for you to justify before parents or authorities why you want to do this or not, why you're doing this first and later the other. So this is informed opinion. It makes your opinion even more valuable. Even more, it's always valuable. Campus methodologies are supported by the theories or the misters as well. Teaching tips and reflection is like from my experiences in classroom and with fellow colleagues. And of course, I will be very happy to learn from your experiences so you can exchange. Activity 1 and activity 2, I'm going to ask you to use some paper if available and devices if available too, like digital or paper. If you don't have, no worries, we can learn from the colleagues. Component and unit walkthrough, this will be pretty fast, but inclusive of our methodologies. And finally, Q&A. Academic theories, inductive grammar. I'm reading you in the chat box. In brief, can you explain to me what's inductive grammar or how you have done it in classroom, if you have done it? So I'm going to check the chat. Inductive grammar, when you see it, have you heard of it? Have you used it in your classroom? Does it sound familiar? I'm reading you in the chat box, so please drop me a line about inductive grammar. Is it good? Is it antique, old, or modern? What is inductive grammar? Are you familiarized? Give you 1 minute. Excuse me, please. Just to clear the throat and continue. I don't see any line about inductive grammar. With text, an example, yes. Another line, at least one. Maybe it's the delay. Sometimes I say something and the internet delay, providing example before teaching the grammar. Of course, teachers give examples to analyze. That keyword is very relevant, analyze. Thank you for what I'm reading. Okay, let me display how we teach the inductive grammar. As the white letters say in the boxes, thank you. As the white letters say in the boxes, examples. Examples can be the song. So if you see a song opener in your book, you are already going through the inductive grammar approach, you see? So you don't need to read and memorize the methodologies in order to apply them. They are more or less around. Play games, of course, especially to confirm patterns. Now, a comic, a dialogue, and songs are very good moments for exposure, and they have this grammar awareness, not yet mastery. It's just an awareness, exposure. To find patterns, they realize there is an S at the end of the verb when he, she, it is around, or I am, but he is. So they start understanding patterns. When I talk about my dad, he is, but when it's all my cousins are. Example, CLIL, readings, extensive videos, other resources through the unit give more examples or intentional examples. Remember, sometimes the books have this connect or match or fill in the blank. And finally, yes, there is a moment we together with students confirm the pattern. It's not like, oh, it means I don't teach grammar. In the old-fashioned school, the book I have, it was a grammar box and then fill in the blank. And in the PPP, presentation, practice, and production, we were expected that because the teacher talks in English to me, I should be able, no, in between each, there is need of scaffolding, a lot of going together with the students, right? So at the very end, use the structure in the lesson plan. And this is why today's talk is labeled as lesson planning. In the lesson plan, we have to include a moment of role play, writing, rewriting, so they demonstrate they have understood when and how to use the pattern. I like using pattern rather than grammar rules. Grammar rules sounds like math. Oh, in that moment becomes difficult. For students, the word math, the word grammar has kind of a paradigm. But if we say pattern, then it's kind of more friendly, even for you and for students. Okay, example first, learn the pattern. Thank you so much. Let's continue with the next one. Oh, sorry. So it's the context. Either it can be pictures, role play, reality, special guests. Here we go. Now, Mr. Vygotsky, we are close friends. I myself, as a professional in this moment, I always try to be aware, what can I do by myself? What can I do with help? A mentor, a colleague, someone more experienced, someone more creative, someone younger with less paradigm. When we grow older and experienced, be careful, because our experience sometimes prevents the creativity and the problem solving of the very current situations. And the blue circle, it's kind of dangerous. When your lesson is so difficult, they feel frustrated, then they cannot learn because they make mistakes and they think it's difficult. So what's the sweet spot in between what they can do today and what they will do later? So Vygotsky called the zone of proximal development. In easier word, the sweet spot for learning. Carol, how can I find this? I can find this by doing activities like, can you name the body parts? So they say hands, head. Now I know they master some words. If they can mention none, they know nothing. If they mention 10 body parts and today's class is body parts, then you go for a project. So we understand first the level of knowledge and understanding and then challenge. If we don't explore first what they know, I'll go either I stay smaller and it's so easy boring, or I go and expand for something so complicated they are not engaged. My favorite. Now, does this ring a bell? Have you seen these words? Have you seen these words before, like all together in a list? Can you recall the name of one of the misters, one of the authors? What is this? Have you seen these words? Create. You have seen create. No, I mean all together stand for something. Bloom's taxonomy. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Now, as a joke, I sometimes say, I want to be friends and marry Mr. Bloom's. It's fantastic. Like what he did, it's fantastic, because if you go together all the way from the skills and the action verbs, your lesson plan is done. So I cannot talk in a webinar about lesson planning without bringing Bloom's to the table. Now I'm going to challenge you. Which one goes on the bottom of the pyramid? Which one goes on the bottom of the pyramid? What do you think? Don't Google it. I know you have devices. Do you remember? Remember. All right. What about on top? What's the very last, very high advanced one? On top. Create, evaluate. Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited. Create on top. Let's see the graphic now. You're so right. From remember, thank you. I'm so happy. From remember, I lead them to understanding and to apply. Some academics, especially, I don't want to give adjectives, but sometimes they say, it's not that important to memorize information. How can you apply it if you don't memorize it? It's like, you need to recognize first, but don't stay there. Understand how it works, understand how to apply it. So you go climbing step by step. Now, what happened to me in university? Before being a teacher of English, I graduated from biotechnology, I have to say, never worked in this field. So one of my teachers in a very difficult subject, biochemistry of the microorganisms, something like that was the subject. And I remember I attend the class, I read the books, I do the homework, I do everything, but I don't excel at exams. I felt so frustrated. When I became a teacher, early, very early, I was a very young teacher, I understood this. This teacher, he was good, how he presented, the program was good, but there's a trick. He was teaching, remember, understand, and the exams were analyze, evaluate. So I never analyze, evaluate in the classroom with the teacher, but I'm challenged with a piece of paper and an exam to perform in very high levels of the Bloom's taxonomy without being trained. Is that fair? I don't think so, right? So we need to keep evaluation or testing below in Bloom's taxonomy of what you did in the classroom, same or below. So not every semester, not every unit must lead to create and evaluate. Fantastic if you do. But in lower levels, maybe in primary, unit 1, if they remember, understand, and apply, that's it. Match, connect, role play. So let's not be so ambitious. But what is not fair is that you're teaching primary 5 or 6 or with teenagers, and your evaluation, it's over the level of the class. This is why projects are so relevant. Today, we're going to go for a moment of the use of comics. And the use of comics reaches create and evaluate, right? But how can you write a comic using simple present if you don't know he, she, it needs the S at the end? So first remember, then understand, then apply, analyze, it's to separate the parts. So all these will be relevant. Definitions, in case you're not familiar, but I can see all of you are most of you are very familiarized with the Bloom's taxonomy. So I'm gonna make this small, just give me a second. So from recognizing, analyzing was difficult for me. Like, when are students analyzing something? They see the paper and they are focused analyzing, or how can I tell they are analyzing? Easy, break down the information into components. If you want to understand how a house has been built, you need to understand materials and process. And process are a sequence of stages. Language has stages. Teaching grammar, it's like math, addition. When this and this plus this equals that. So breaking this information is when they are analyzing. We mentioned inductive grammar. They are analyzing what they are seeing in order to evaluate and create or establish what the rule is. So we cannot talk about inductive grammar without the Bloom's taxonomy interfering with the analyze, evaluate, and create. Let me check my timing. I think timing is perfect. Start with the use of comics. Teachers, I'm gonna make a very short pause and check the chat box if there is any question so far or comment about what I have said. Questions or comments? Not in this moment. I'll rather continue because I don't see any question. You can screenshot this, please. In Google, there are many infographics with this. There is one for the digital skills today, like bloggers and videos and posting, but this is what enriches your lesson plan. When I was a coordinator and I asked, what are the students doing this morning? Spelling. No, I mean, that's the subject. What are the students doing? Solving, organizing, having a debate, like in their mind, what is the process that we are promoting today? So each of them is relevant. Please don't demerit the green ones. Remember and understand. They are so relevant, for those are foundation in the learning process. So yes, drilling, a nice drilling, please, a chant or writing with colors. I do have a daughter, and I saw a technique from her teacher. She used to say, grab your 4 favorite colors, and she grabs 4 colors. And then they trace the same shape or rooty or figure 5 times, like with 1 color, leave it, then the next color, leave it, right? So in order to remember, some drilling is necessary. Verbal, drawing, repeating, or addition. Let's say when I was teaching geography, I will ask them to say the names of the countries in Central America from north to south 5 times. And before leaving the room, 5 times from south to north. So it's like this variation turns it into a drilling game or something. And then they play a game, all of them standing up, and each student has to say one of the countries in order by heart. And then when they lose, they have to sit down, and I have 5 winners who memorize the complete drill. I can give some extra credit. So drilling can be a happy moment, not painful. So these action words are for lesson planning. This can be happening at every moment. And I love this infographic I borrowed from lots to HOTS. So it sticks easier to my mind. Lower order thinking skill to higher order thinking skill. And when they are ready to perform in the higher order thinking skills, the scaffolding tells me it's time to move away. They are on their own, they are working, they are performing. Activity 1, the use of comics. Grab some pen and paper if you have around. If not, don't worry. In a workshop I performed in a room, a teacher grabbed the phone, open a page, and start drawing with the finger. So no worries, paper, markers, and pencil. How do you bring the use of comics to your classroom? This is what we have in the classroom. We pre-teach the structure of a comic. It has panels, dialogues. There are videos you can play from these influencers or bloggers that can share with you 1 or 2, 3 videos teaching them how to make a comic. Our books have comic dialogues, so they can read and see 1, 2, 3, or 4 units before drawing their comic. So pre-teach, that's very relevant. I'll do it for you in a minute. Academic aim. It's not drawing for drawing. It's the comic where they describe family members. It's the comic where they practice first, then finally, which is a sequence, right? It can be evaluation criteria is the list, that it has 3 panels, that you have to color it, that I'm expecting such and such quality in the drawings, that your sentences include 5 adjectives describing physical appearance. So let them know specifics. What is it that gives a value so they can get 100? By the way, when you evaluate students, is it with letters, A, B, C, or is it with numbers? Here we evaluate until 100. How do you evaluate? Let me check in the chat. The student cells get an A, 100. How is it? Numbers as well. And what will be sometimes some process with the letters too, numbers and letters. Very good. So this criteria, either if it's numbers or letters, those who are saying A, B, C, D, I have a chart that it's very useful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing letters. So it's kind of mixed, letters and numbers. Okay. As long as there is an understanding that those who excel get something different from those who don't work at all. And expected timing. We are going to start the comic today. You draft, and then as homework, you make the drawings, bring it tomorrow, and we finish the dialogues here. And at the end of tomorrow's class, we are going to present the comic. That's the timing. It's not a surprise. We cannot say, okay, make a comic, and then time's up. Wait, I didn't know how much time I had. So they must understand what's the time they have. Let me read the chat because I think I have more answers here. Letter, nice try. Okay, let's continue. Now, I have an example of a comic, a very special comic for me. The title is The Happy Vegetables. I don't know if you use cursive handwriting, but in some private primaries, they are using cursive handwriting. In most of them, it's the script, but this school was using a cursive. So this is primary 1, post-COVID. This girl learned to write in a tablet at homeschooling. So it was like the 3rd month of a return to physical school. It was a very peculiar, special moment in primary 1. So please excuse the mistakes. It's a very nice, good attempt. I don't know if you can see on the screen, but the title says The Happy Vegetables, okay, by Aranza. She's the author. Once upon a time. Can you understand once upon a time? Because she's writing as it sounds. She's not spelling properly yet. So the teacher kindly corrects with black pen once, O-N-C-E, U-P-O-N. I found the second comic and she spelled once upon a time correctly. Portfolio means second chance to improve. Portfolio is not isolated project. If you're teaching writing friendly letter, they write a friendly letter, display first what are the components of a friendly letter, mark as here it is, like the feedback, and then give another chance of another letter so they can excel now, because portfolios are for practice and ongoing process. So I love it. Remember the text bubble in a comic. When it's something you're thinking, you represent with little circles. And here it is. I think it's a tomato, strawberry. I think it's a tomato. And it's thinking about flying. Here she wants to fly. But she's friend says you are going to fly one day. Okay, the spelling, it's a mess, but the idea, it's pretty good. And as I said, it's primary 1, non-native, all right? Non-native. Spanish is her first language. And it says, then they go to the park. Park is misspelled, but very cute swings here. Then go to sleep. The end. Period. Instruction to. So she's kind of following the structure of a comic, the bubbles, the drawings, and the teachers. It's like you need more practice. It's like you are on the process. I love when I saw the second comic, it was much better, but I wanted to demonstrate that as simple as this, right? Question, have you ever created comics, either paper or digital? Let me know in the chat. Yes or no, and if you have, like yes paper, yes comic. Have you? Yes, thank you. At least one? No, 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 no. Those saying no, please say not yet. Not yet, thank you. I always answer when someone asks me, have you visited Indonesia? And I say, not yet. I never say no. It's like, not yet. Have you tried or eaten this? Not yet, because chances are you can do it. Paper, haven't, not yet. Digital one. There are fantastic platforms where you click and drag the elements and you can make beautiful comics. If you study those platforms and they are authorized by the school, it can be like mandatory homework that all the comics are done in this platform. If you want to excel and go for digital homework. Thank you so much for your answers. Yes, we have tried digital ones. Took me so long to finish it. Oh, it was so easy for me to do digital comics. I didn't bring digital comics today, but I'm planning to bring ideas of digital comics next week for the junior high school, all right? Now, yes, you have, most of you, some of you not, so you will be trained today on how to make them and how to lead your students to make the comics. What skills do you think we can develop or reinforce with the students by bringing comics to the classroom? Writing, of course, writing, grammar, reading, of course, because they will exchange, writing, speaking, grammar, writing, actually all of them, listening, reading, speaking, because if you encourage them to say or role play, it will be all of them. It's perfect context to utilize or bring a use of grammar? Excellent. Yes, all of them will be encouraged in a very fun, active way. All of them. Any age. I'm sorry I answered. Any age can benefit because if you're very young, you can stain the thumb and thumbprint, and that's the character. Just put some eyes and lashes, and that's it. So any age, starting kindergarten, nursery, up to adults. So all of the ages. Let's draw. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, if you have paper, to choose one of these drawings and then show it to me. I'll do it too. Let me grab my Sharpie. Where is it? 30 seconds. If you have paper, please be kind and make a drawing. I took all my pens away. Can we open cameras and show it by camera when we finish, please? I'm gonna do it here. Choose one of them. I'm drawing one that is super happy. It already has some movement. I'm drawing. Special effects are important. Here we go. So my very happy character is ready. Okay, but because of the background, I'm not sure if I can show it, if it's next to me. How can I show it? And it's green. Oh, I chose green paper and it does not show. I need to use white paper. That's why it doesn't show. Look, it's aquí está. We could see it. So if you can show it, thank you. Let me open like, here we go. Can I see who else has been drawing? Can you show your drawings, please? If you have paper, choose one of the ones in the, thank you, and it says hi already. 4th to 6th grade benefits a lot from this kind of activity. Thank you, thank you. All right, so did you notice that actually this happens like super fast? Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one, it's going to bring a bit more information, like sitting on the couch or holding something with the earplugs, the cowboy with the hat. So these lines, the worker with a tie, and let me mention that any object, the cup, the phone, here, the notebook, you draw eyes, and any school supply, any household item can be transformed into the character. So I have the light bulb. How do I know it's a man? Because it has a tie. What if I put a bow and a necklace, then it's a woman, or super big lashes? There are some characteristics or movement. I watched in a video that when the character has some lines behind the feet or hands, it demonstrates movement, a dog wagging the tail. So with this kind of picture, in the first exercise, it's simple sketch, and then here I'm bringing a bit of more elements. Now we want to bring kids from this class again to this engage project. I have asked kids to do in teams, so they exchange the ideas. Sometimes one is good at drawing and creative and timekeeper, and the other one actually excels at the grammar, sentences and stuff, so they can connect them, their strengths to make the best comic possible. Wait, let me check. First and read the indicators. You can draw on your phone as well. At the end of session, we can put all the drawings like near the cameras so we can take a picture of the portfolio. From this to this, it's a dream of teachers to see them actually engage. Now, they ask me, Caro, how many blocks? In the English classroom, if we start from kindergarten, maybe 1 or 2, like first then, finally, 3 will be time consuming. But if I'm talking primary 4, 5, 6, it's moment to have a complete plot. They can have a complete story, a beginning or opening, action, climax or problem, following action, and resolution or end. So 5 panel can be like the portfolio or end of unit project. This is a big project. 1 or 2, How about the students don't like drawing? Okay, for the person asking, how about the students don't like drawing? They can sketch, they can use geometric shapes. The circle is the character. Or there is a technique where you stain the thumb and stamp it, and that's the character. So no fantastic skills are necessary. I used to have a student who was using only pencil, no coloring, super fast. The quality was not so good, but he will always bring me every evaluation item. It was complex to evaluate him because I understood he did not like drawing, but he will try his best. That's effort, and include all the elements. So yes, it can happen that humans don't feel they excel at drawing. So the pre-teaching will make a difference also for this kind of student. Now, according to the 5-planet panels plot, it can be a complete story, but it's up to you. First, then finally, 3, it's okay. 1 single poster, 2, or even a book. Ideas fly from the head with little circles, and speech points with an arrow to the person or character saying aloud the idea. Now, are you ready to make your comic? It's going to be a sketch, like super fast, and this is the instruction. 1, choose a topic, today's routine or your last holiday. With today's routine, what did you do to make it here to the webinar? Today, I woke up, I had breakfast, connect the devices, and enrolled to the conference. Or your last holiday or vacation. I planned with my friends and went to the valley, and then we had a lot of fun. I don't know. So choose a topic. Second, 3 panels. So your story, Jesus, I have white paper. I will grab a white. So we have to draw 1, 2 lines. So you have 3 different sections on your paper. Wait, outline your story. Are you familiarized with bullets? Like when you put a little point and you sketch just 1 sentence saying the idea. First, I wake up. So in that stage, I'm going to put a human in the bed stretching. That's what I mean. Second panel, I'm going to have breakfast. So I put someone in the kitchen. And third, I'm going to set the computer. You see, so 3 lines to establish what your comic will be about in writing. This is the draft. Now draw the characters. They call it stick figurine or line figurine, like not 3D human with a very sophisticated drawing technique. Bubbles and captions. Captions is what the narrator said. It was a very cold morning. It was a fantastic sunny morning, right? That's like at the beginning or at the end. And finally, detail your background. With detail, it can be a window, it can be a tree if you're outdoors in a holiday. By the way, tree and sun are fantastic to demonstrate outdoors. Door, window, some furniture demonstrates indoors, so it's easy to demonstrate. And add some color. Don't believe this. Add some color will be if we had like markers in the classroom or stuff. Now, if a student accomplishes all this, it will be 100 or an A, right? So I'm gonna give you 5 to 7 minutes, so I don't make it so long, to make this project. Are you ready? Go. I'm gonna take the timer for 5 minutes. To choose to show my, I think my background does not allow me very well to show my comic, but if I put it here, you might see a girl here in a bench, right? Then she's rollerblading on vacation, and finally she's sleeping, and I'm demonstrating she sleeps by CZZ outside the house. So here is my drawing with the bright color. I don't think you can see it. Okay, are we done now? I have to stop now. I set the timer and time is up. So please show on screen if you have a drawing so we can continue with the second part. There is a question in the chat. Let me see it. Don't miss. Thank you. It's Unita. I kind of struggle to read the names. Okay, done. Thank you. Let's put it near the camera so we can show it. Make it If one of my colleagues can help me like screenshot when people are displaying the pictures near my face. Thank you. Oh, look at that. I can see your drawings. Oh, your drawings are very good. I wish I were there with you so I can mark with a happy face your work or with a star. Thank you so much. Can we screenshot? Maybe it's Anga or somebody from Mentari that can help me to screenshot this with as many participants as possible. Thank you for your participation. This is fantastic. Thank you. Let's continue. Bravo. When we are trained to do this, then it's much easier that we can train our students. Now, evaluation tools are so relevant. Somebody mentioned letters and somebody mentions numbers. Process, it's difficult to evaluate. This comic looks like an 80 or like 100. No, you have the list, the assessment list or the checklist. Does it have a title? Yes or no? The title has spelling mistakes, right? Or it's accurate. Is it colored? Does it have 5 panels? So for students, I sometimes said 5 to 7 panels, 3 to 5 panels. So I give a range, or you can be very strict. 5 and only 5 because it's a plot, or 3 and only 3, like today, I asked you to divide the page. The idea is to keep it fair and informed, that the students know what will be evaluated, yes or no. Second, ABC. In the ABC is the same criteria, but you describe good or excellent, kind of good, and not so good, not acceptable, or needs to be done again, because we are on progress, right? Needs to be done again. That's a chance. And this, if we go for the book, the comic book, then the rubric will be necessary, because in writing is the expected definition of every item according to the provided quality. That the drawings represent the character and they are colored, and like everything you ask for is there, or the drawing is there. The drawing is not good enough, right? So all definition is there. It's a rubric, it's a grid, and you hand in to student before they start the comic. This, the student has to know before they start. So even before they hand in to you, there is a rubric they have to check. Oh, I'm missing the title. I didn't highlight the title. I failed to color or detail the background, so they themselves reflect on their process or progress. Okay. So I'm going to check the chat box. Now, teachers, thank you. All my gratitude for your enthusiasm who were drawing the comic. Thank you so much. It makes a difference when we participate. And it's always good when possible to sit in the student's chair and do some students' handwork so we get kind of more familiar to what they are feeling. Please let me know comments on how can you go for implementation of this in the classroom. If you have questions on how to bring it, put the questions right now in the chat box, because I'm reading you, so we can wrap up the comics and finalize with the, oh, sorry. Finalize with the use of comics. Questions or comics about the use of comics in the English classroom, because I have used this before I use it in the ELT classroom, in the history classroom. They were studying the fall of the Roman Empire, and it was kind of beyond the half of the school year. And I was like, what else can I do with my teenagers who are studying history in the second language? It was a bilingual subject. So what else can I do? And first in class, I asked them, read and represent this, this, and this. And automatically they grabbed the paper, and by initiative, they started reading, and I realized, oh, they like drawing to represent rather than writing summary and graphic organizer. Okay, so no questions about the use of comics? No questions? Is it possible to make a comic in the first grade? First grade in primary? Absolutely, yes. As I said, there are plenty of videos that guide you and the student on how to be more skilled by making comics. Okay, group work for comics. I believe 2 students will be enough. 3 students, one of them will be the manager and won't be actually participating actively, but 2 can share ideas and take the best skill of each. I can read it aloud, I can draw, why not finalizing the story like this? So pair work, yes. Team, like 3 or more students doing the same comic will be a crowd. Group, they can draw, but can't write the story in English sometimes. All right, if they can't actually write the story, do you remember books provide frame dialogues with blue words? Like, don't forget your, and there is a line, and can be completed. Don't forget your umbrella, don't forget your jacket. So you can give frame dialogue, display, give the options, and in the comic, they copy the pattern. So that will be scaffolding. So before they create complete sentences, in the comic, intentionally, it's about, let's say, the restaurant or the playground. So you provide with the vocabulary, the pattern, and they just copy. It was a very good question. Group, individual, they can't, when they don't really write complete ideas proficiently in English yet, yes. We can choose the simple topic, example, fruit, vegetables, exactly like the comic of the happy vegetables, and it was only 1 sentence per stage or panel. How to deal with students who take so long time thinking about the idea? Ooh, fantastic question. Timekeeper. I use Siri. And in the whiteboard with color markers, I used to do the timing too. Example given. The comic, you start making the comic at 9 a.m. By 9:15, you should have the outline and write it down and come closer. When I had students who take a lot of time to start, like sharpening the pencil and getting distracted, physical approach and your eyes make a difference because they kind of, the teacher notices me. So I rather start working. So try physical approach, like just come close to that row, to that student, ask for help. Are you struggling? Do you want any ideas? So yes, there are usually in a group of 22 or 3 students who struggle to begin with any activity. They struggle. But once they start, they do it well. Very good. Is daily activity a bit difficult for first grade? Like using comics as daily? No. Comics are like end of unit, especially end of unit, to wrap up a unit of the food, of the body parts. How to deal with students who not yet make sentence in English? I already said, like you can give pattern. Why I keep having pops here? Oh my God. Can I use rubric? If students cannot write sentences yet, can this comic be used only for vocabulary? Yes, of course. The red circle and happy with feelings and colors. The hungry triangle, and it's hungry and there is food next to it. Yes, very short, just keywords, of course. Can I use rubric as assessment score for a special? Of course, rubrics are fantastic for every student. Every moment you need to evaluate progress instead of achievement. Checklist and rubric, it's fantastic. And portfolio items as well. Okay, I think we need to go for the webinar about the assessment, the evaluation and assessment. It's fantastic. How to teach students making sentence whilst they make comics? Patterns, scaffolding, and the pattern can be shorter so they can create more and more. Drawing techniques in classroom. Well, in English, a lot of drawing, a lot of realia and songs and music. It needs to be very welcome. I have very noisy class. Any advice? Oh my gosh. I used to ring a bell to ask for silence and the merit minutes of recess, if the school allows. So they used to have like 20-minute lunch break, and I ring the bell, put it on the table, timekeeper, like if you take 1 minute to be sitting in silence and to pay attention, I'll demerit 1 minute for the complete group. It was like, there are some strategies, but you need to talk with authorities in the school. What can you do for those who are not doing the silent moment when appropriate? But to ring the bell, and it's physical, and you stand in front of them and you do this, like ringing the bell. With adults, I don't use the bell. I stand up with my hand high up. Even in workshops with teachers, with the educators, when I have a large audience and they are doing the drawings and stuff, I physically stand or anchor myself in the center of the stage and raise my hand, kind of wave, and those who realize start calling the rest. So a very peaceful, quiet way is like the one handing and making like some hand movements that time is up. An alarm can work, but the bell for kids, I think it's sweet and it can be. How about the students who do not understand English yet? It will take much time. L1, can you teach instructions with the L1? That can work well. If you're just teaching or pre-teaching vocabulary and the instruction can be given in the mother language of the student, then you can go for it. And I love doing that. So far, I like using flashcards, describing. I'm going to show some flashcards, but there comes little problems in the writing skills. Writing will come later. Remember, it's primary and still post-COVID. The generations who were working and learning at home are still overcoming this kind of lack of in classroom. When I teach grammar tenses in upper level classes of elementary school, is it okay if I grab? Of course, patterns are always welcome. Thank you. I have some students, they don't love English. I'm not gonna say the word. I have tried to give them bamboozle games, movie scenes, but these aren't work. What, Nanda, give me some minutes and let me give you more ideas, and then we discuss, but I'm with you. Okay, I want to ask if the students refuse to draw. I found some students who say they don't like drawing. What's the appropriate response to that? Politely tell them it's not optional. Cut and paste, maybe, cut and paste, all right? Cut and paste or toys, okay? Realia, toys, clay, Play-Doh, figures, maybe. Not everything is drawing. The objective of drawing is representation of ideas. So if it's a barrier, the drawing, they feel frustrated, they can bring toys or realia or do stuff with clay. Speak. Let me go for speaking. All right, I need to move away from the chat and we'll continue with the questions. It's fantastic, this interaction, because it means you remain here. Thank you for your time. This is the second part. And we have, so those were theories of learning, teaching learning that I have proven fantastic tools in my teaching toolbox as a teacher and as a coordinator. Now, let me bring you methodologies behind Big Show, Hangout, and many of Compass books. Methodology obeys for a process, first and then and why and conclusion. So STEM learning, CLIL, and four-strand theory are fantastic ways to approach and use as methodologies to write the books. So authors don't really just grab a computer and start typing. They commit to some methodologies in order to reach at the end of the series certain international standards. And finally, scaffolding, one of my favorite words, because when I was a very young teacher, I never knew how to go together with my students, but then want to step aside and let them perform on them, like when and how. So we're going to briefly review this. Let me explain them. So this is the methodology behind. First, stealth is like having fun, songs and games, board games, everything that does not look like a regular class. When they are engaged and they don't know they are learning, for that person who said, my students don't love English, but figure out what they love. Do they love coloring, modeling clay, tapping on the desk, standing up for TPR? There must be something they like, and that will be your option to play games with them. The learning content is hidden in the game. So yes, I'm learning the fruits. I can't remember, but there was a song and the song describes the animals, the long tail and the short legs. So I'm singing and watching monkeys playing, or bears or cows, but I'm learning adjectives to describe and body parts. So I don't say, hey kids, sit down in silence because I'm teaching body parts, but I enter the classroom, maybe moving like one animal, or I show the card and I ask the students to move like the animal, and then we say the name of the animal, you see? So I'm TPR, I'm doing charades, but I'm using the animals or the body parts. So this is stealth, playing with them. Effective learning opportunities will happen when they are highly interested and receptive, when they are with this position, like they are bored, they are tired. The place where I live, the winter is very cold and the summer is very hot. So we're always dealing with the weather and the climate. So also students, when I was teaching university, 12 to 1, lunch is at 1, my students were starving, even the teacher. It was difficult to teach, like the last subject before the lunch break. Complicated. So you need to go like with some strategies. And they are having fun. Therefore, they will love your class. Second, CLIL, curricular subjects are embedded in your books. Hangout and Big Show already have at the end of the units some pages of CLIL. I love CLIL, content learning integrated, content and language integrated learning, right? So knowledge and understanding of the subject using the target. You should see my excitement. The very first time I read a book in English, and I come to my mom, Mama, I have finished my first book in English. It was very thin. It was this kind of graded readers. So in the language center, the teacher encouraged us, hey kids, with your credential, your ID, you can go to the library, borrow a book, read it, and then come and bring it to the classroom. So, and I said, really? Am I allowed to do that? So with cleaning classrooms, they get used to learn stuff or things of real life, but I do it in English. So English becomes not the purpose, but vehicle. It's like the bicycle or the car or the airplane for transportation and learning. They can learn academic material, and the language is just a way to go through. Next, wait. Fourth strand. If you have seen what ladies do with the hair, like braiding it, that's the meaning, fourth strand. So we are going to weave or create a thread with 4 meaningful aspects: input, output, focus learning, and fluency. Meaning, first, they read with their eyes or look at pictures, and they listen. Second, they produce. Now, these 2 first squares are coming and going like a bouncing ball several times. It's not a complete period of listening and then a complete period of writing. No, it's like bouncing, coming and going, coming and going. But then, language focused learning, example given, workbooks, fill in the blank, academic writings, and then fluency development, writing reports or expressing ideas or presenting the comic, presenting the project. So this first strand, if you see, is beyond and beautiful, excelling the PPP, presentation, practice, and production, right? Last but not least, scaffolding. This system where students are racing in autonomy and teachers are going away and away. When I was in my last year of university, there was a change from traditional school to competence-based, where students are encouraged to perform rather to just listen. And we thought the teachers were lazy. Like, oh, come on, this teacher is not teaching. He only wants me to do research and report. And we didn't understand what was happening because we studied for 3 years in university with the system and crash. There was all of a sudden change. So what is to scaffold? Yes, students are going to do some research. Students are going to infer a grammar rule, are going to understand and bring. But first, we guide them. We guide them, right? So it's the objective here is independence, that if I give you the meaning of a word, is different than I say, use Webster's dictionary. Webster's saves my life. All the words are there. They are pronounced. It has antonym, synonym. So if I teach my students to use Webster's online dictionary, I'm promoting autonomy. That's scaffolding. If I become a walking dictionary and I want to brag that I know the meanings, yes, you continue feeding, spoon feeding with the definitions. I used to be, when I was coordinator in primary, like for 10 years, my fight with the principal, paper dictionary. No, I don't want them to spend. Yes, paper dictionary. And in the lesson plan, I had games, those who find faster a specific word, or I don't know, helping each other. Can you find in the dictionary the word that Carolina needs, or such and such, right? Can you find in the dictionary 5 words beginning with such and such? So there are activities to teach them to use dictionary. Now it looks kind of old-fashioned technique, but yet it's important that in a given moment in primary, students know how to use a paper dictionary. I still keep 4 paper dictionaries in this house. It's like I have sentimental attachment to them. I cannot get rid of them. So I still have some paper dictionaries. They're very useful. Now, when the no longer need, the support is removed, like the frame dialogue or the teacher or the feedback. Gradually shifting responsibility too is not about ability. Scaffolding, it's about responsibility. It's my responsibility to grab the dictionary. I'm not expecting the teacher to point every spelling mistake. I can check myself. I can monitor myself. I was missing this very relevant word. Monitor myself. When speaking, you monitor, you go back and correct and say it correctly. So that monitor moment, it's a very crucial for scaffolding. Questions or comments about these 4 methodologies? This is an example of engineering scaffolding, is what they put in the buildings or houses. So the engineers and the construction people climb. But when the building is finished, it must be removed, does not belong there. So the teacher does not belong there. We need to be removed towards independence of learners or students. So I'll run you 1 minute here, wait for questions or comments. I just opened the chat box. Questions on implementation, like what you were asking. What about in primary? What about in kinder? So what about questions are welcome. Let me see if I left some questions here. Okay, somebody's sharing that when the class is noisy, I sometimes use bouncy balls on the web. Those are the balloons. Then they will blow up when the balloon catch. Ah, all right. That's a fantastic tool. It's Regina or Regina, Olga. Thank you. Hendra has a hand. Can you please open microphone and ask your question or say your comment? We hear you. Andri, the best way to control a superactive student, work together with the mother and the father, call them to school, have some arrangement that the discipline counts at home and also at school. That's something that needs authorities of the school as well. Make him or her feel important. Command or task him. Today is your day to deliver the exams, like when they have active roles. Hendra, please, the question. You raised the hand, but you didn't say the question. We cannot hear you. Is your microphone working properly?
Hello, everyone.
Hello? Now I can hear you, please.
Hello, everyone. Is it clear?
It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very
Please.
much. Hello, Miss Caroline. Thank you for having me, and I'm so happy to be here, sharing it all great teachers. And first of all, my name is Hendra. I'm from Islamic Nature and Science School of Al Jannah. and it's been a long time working with the Mentari book, of course. And what I like from this session is, of course, sharing and also hearing from our natives, just like you, Miss Caroline. It was great from the beginning and so inspiring. And I would like to share and maybe one question after then. First,
Please.
I'm very excited of your topic about CLIL, right? Is it we call CLIL?
CLIL, yeah, correct. CLIL, content and language
I
integrated.
really, I agree with you that English language is kind of a vehicle. It's such a transportation for us, for our student, for our beloved student, of course. So with that moment, I like to bring them together to library at least once a week. I bring them to the library and I suggest them to read English, either is novel or their favorite book in English. So I want you to explore about what you're excited in with English books. So at the end of the session, they come with their simple explanation, what you have read and what you learn from there, and they learn many things. Actually very simple sometimes what they told me at the end of the session, and it was great. So they learned something new from the English book. But then again, my question is again to there's some of them also still had difficulties in delivering what is in their mind. It's still, yeah, in expressing, in explaining what I know that there are maybe 1,000 words in their mind they would like to tell me because I look at their excitement in the face. So, but then difficult to explain, and at the end, a little sad because not all can be expressed well. So, how to deal with that? I mean, how to make them? It's okay, no problem. Just you are all great, but again, sometime with the lack of time, or also sometimes another friend also they like to make a joke, and this joke is sometimes is make them
every part of the world they do the same.
Yeah. So how to make them still motivated and still believe and also excited in this activity. Thank you, Miss Caroline. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being brave enough. And I can feel your experience and your passion for teaching. Thank you. First
Thank
of all,
you very much.
My bravo for bringing the kids to the library. That's so important. Now, templates, downloadables. I'm about to show some downloadables we have. And if that's not enough, I know in Google, you can type book report template, very young, for instance, and it gives you like the frame for drawing, 2 or 3 direct questions they have to answer. My favorite part is, so they don't have to write that, and a line. So they just write this part of the book that they draw, and this is scaffolding. In higher primary, it's a book report. A book report has a format and they have to write more. But for younger ones, I will go for templates. And that's the last part of our talk, that I'm going to show some formats and templates, unscramble the words when you give a sentence and they organize the word. This, when it's your second language or foreign language, it's very relevant that first I am able to recognize the words and organize. Remember this Bloom's taxonomy? Double check the verbs in your lesson planning that you're actually intentionally go systematically with the verbs of the Bloom's taxonomy. Observe those kids and drop me a line. I'll give you my mail. So bring these verbs from knowledge, understanding, with intention. You can even highlight in yellow in your document lesson plan. Do it intentionally and you will see a best result. Sometimes when we go kind of colder, let's say from one stage to the next, these kids drop. Remember the zone of proximal development of Vygotsky? You need to understand very clearly through quizzes what's the real zone of these kids. It will be different. Now, within a classroom of 20 students in primary, the 20 students are in the same zone. They have the same knowledge, but the expansion happens different. That's what you're having, I believe. Like some kids are learning different in a different way. So 80% are bringing the book report and expressing the ideas, and 20% are unable. That's the word. So how can I enable them? Template. You're laughing. So I mean, I think I hit the with the hammer. So drop me a line when you do it. Okay, let me see some written questions here. Active student, we said like work with the parents. I always ask about the weekend. Oh yes, asking the weekend or role play the weekend or what have you done, like to make it personal, what's relevant. When I was in high school, you know, high school, social life was kind of active for me, my family, friends, cousins in junior high school. And the math teacher, the mathematics teacher, always started her class asking, oh, did you have a party? Did you have this? Did you hang out? She was informed of our social agenda. So she will ask us about what we care. Once we express all the ideas, we are in silence paying attention. How clever she was. She used to hold later a very high level position in the university. First teacher of high school, but she excels a lot in teaching, and she used to have like very high position in university. But her strategy was listen to your customer first, 5 minutes. Okay, we're done with the weekend. I'll start the math class. And she started the math class with vocabulary. I always remember that. She will draw a box always in the same spot of the whiteboard. It was a chalk blackboard on those years, I think. So she will put the vocabulary. So first she listens to me, then vocabulary, and only then she starts teaching math. Fantastic teacher. Her name is Marta. I will text her later that I was acknowledging her today here. Introvert students. If the introvert likes drawing, that's fantastic. But if he's not drawing or talking, I don't know what other advice. How to deal with slow motion students doing the task. Timekeeper, like no more time for this, move on for drawing, chunks of the task. The task needs to be divided in chunks. I have one hand, I cannot read the name. I truly apologize. Menrainti. Can you please open your microphone and ask the question? I'm so happy to have you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Caroline. I'm Mentari Girsang. I am from SD Plus Barat Edukasi Cendekia, SD Plus BEC dari, I'm from Pak Barat, exactly. Okay, nice to know you, Miss Caroline. It's a very inspirated lesson, and I'm so happy also to have all the friends here, especially in English. I'm from SD Plus BEC. I have already taught English for about 20 years in our regency. Wow. But now, actually, we have primary school. And my question is how to make the way, how is the way to teach our students so that they can be more interactive to study English, because totally of them from other kindergarten and first grade of primary school, totally of them doesn't like English actually, and even they don't know English at all. I can say that they don't know English at all, and how can we teach them English? Okay, that's my question, Miss Caroline. Thank you.
All right. What can you do? I'm figuring out, like trying to sort out this. There are some readings I can recommend. The titles will be around student-centered. Student-centered. So student-centered is like keeping the student active and engaged, and teachers out of the spotlight. And because I am the star, now I am more interested, right? It can be as simple as I can recall when I was in primary, we had roles. So this line today is cleaning the classroom. And this student is bringing the tea or the coffee for the teacher. So we have permission to walk through the aisle in the school, go to the principals, get the coffee. So giving roles make the person, any person important. And you are a part of it. There are, Marzano is an author who makes like the stages of students to feel accepted and then secure or safe, and you go for some emotional part. So your English program is okay, but you need to go around this kind of more humanistic methodologies like the dimensions of Marzano. I can type them here. Marzano is with a Z, Marzano, or this about student-centered readings. There are many authors. And with these articles, you will have the eureka moment and say, I'm going to modify and do, because it will be difficult to tell you just like aspirin solution, because it's a how, not what or why. It's how to change from one method to make it more successful. One more, Multahadi. Welcome, please open your microphone. Thank you. Maybe someone from Mentari can help me moderate who's next to talk, because I don't think I can see all the raised hand. Can you moderate, please, to establish who will be next to say the question?
All right. For next,
Okay.
Mr. Fahrin Multahadi. Okay.
Okay. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fahrin Multadi Suryadi. I'm from Sekolah Tahfiz Islamic School Safinatun Najah, Masamba, South Sulawesi Province. Well, I want to ask you, Miss Carolina. Well, at this first time, I teach English for third grade in primary school. But actually, I'm confused which accents I teach, whether British or American, because daily I speak English in British accents, but mostly students speak in American accents. But maybe can we as a teacher introduce two accents, British, either British or American accents?
You can even play games. You can even play games with this and bring charts like lift, elevator, potato. Like there are some. I go for the American English, but I can stop saying my mobile phone, and all my friends make fun of me. Nobody uses the mobile phone in America. They have the phone, the cell phone, or when I realize, I said, come on, you're laughing at me. I go for some international exposure. And this is the reality. As non-native speaker of English, you will interact with other non-native speakers of English and deal with the Greek accent, Portuguese accent, Korean accent. So there are many English accents for the non-speakers. And we don't have kind of intonation. In the United States, the West and the East, they have an accent. In the British Islands, the Scottish and the London will not understand each other. So if you already have this in the classroom, I find it as something good. But stress the difference. I remember I asked my teacher in primary about the spelling of gray. Gray, G-R-E-Y or G-R-A-Y. Teacher, what's the correct? Because in my book, there is one spelling, but my mom gave me a coloring book and it was with the other spelling. And in a few minutes, she explained to me, oh, Carol, both of them are correct. This must be a book from Europe and the book we have in the classroom must be from America. Oh, so very young age, I understood some words will be spelled different. If you go further, in TikTok, there are fantastic TikTokers that explain difference from American and British English. This is trendy, this is fun. It's something you could include also in your classroom. What do you think?
It's it's okay, but I didn't exactly how to how
You don't know
to
exactly.
because it is I didn't exactly, but actually I teach mathematics.
If you can use both, it will be correct. Thank you. Can we have one more question so I continue? Else I'm not gonna cover all of it. One more question and then we can say them for the Q&A, all right? One more question.
Right, for Miss Masri Silaban, I think. Okay.
Please unmute your mic, miss. Please unmute your.
Or, is there? Okay. If not, then maybe Miss Siti Nur Hadiani, can you please unmute your mic?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Okay. All right, we can hear you. Thank you.
I can hear you now.
All right. Oh, so is it me or Miss Masri first? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
that is-
Does it work right now?
yes.
Yes, so the first, I would like to say thank you for Miss Caroline for the great explanations for today. So here I feel so interesting for the topic today, and I can see that your preparation is really right. So my questions is, but first I would like to inform or explain some informations from you that I am Mesri Silaban. I come from the Bonapasogit Sejahtera Foundation in Toba, North Sumatra. I teach the students started from kindergarten, elementary or primary until to junior high school. And we understand that the three levels are very different. And for the kindergarten, if I apply for the comics, I think it's very difficult because we just focus on the listening, singing a song, and then the students just listen from the teachers as the audio. And also I have a problems for teaching English for the primary, especially for the grade of 5th, 4th, and 6th grade. From the book, we see there are some topics which integrates to math, to science. Also, when we teach the math topic for them, they said that, Miss, how can we understand the math English, the science English events? We don't know yet how to use the English well. It's the
That's the
problem.
purpose. That's the purpose.
Problem.
Yeah. Tell them is as we discussed already, jump into the vehicle because this is a moment that when learning English, you're learning stuff or things. Stuff, it's a word kids like a lot and understand. So let's learn some stuff and we will do it in English. Use dictionaries, translate to L1 if allowed, if this is the case, but don't miss it. Use it at least every other unit. Tell them, Miss Caro is saying hello to you. Don't be shy about learning things in English. You will be happy when you improve and excel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss.
Participation. Okay, I think I need to move on, and then at the end in the Q&A, we'll continue, right? I'm so happy with the participation. Now, teaching tips. We're about to be finished. We are not so long. Teaching tips. I have already mentioned my teaching tips to answer for the questions. Oh, sorry. Needs to be and this here. So many windows. Now, teaching tips from teacher to teacher. Establish clear aims, the goals, as you said. My aim in kindergarten is input, songs and games. So once we have the clear aim, we can establish the rest of the lesson towards the reach of this goal. Second, warm-ups or anticipation are super important activities too. Like, what activity or question can I do even before teaching the class? Plenty of ideas too in the books and in the teacher's guides. Scaffolding, it's a word I have been mentioning so far. I think we got familiarized to it, which means I walk with you. We have mentioned the frame dialogue with the blue words or empty lines for substitution. That's scaffolding. Unscramble the words, that's scaffolding too. So it's like when I accompany together. And then towards independence, they can work on themselves. Now, after making a comic, for instance, I'm saying comic as the project I have used as an example. Display. We have to show the work of students beyond evaluation or testing. How display looks, let me show it to you before I continue, like this. Do you have something like this in your classroom? So with these tweezers, like the ones for the clothesline, we display the work they have done, like in the living room, if it's your kids, in the office, in the bulletin board, but displaying the work has everything to do. So if I'm going to perform very poor in my comic and then it's displayed and everyone's going to see it, I rather improve the quality of my paper. So those are some teaching tips I would like to show. Celebrate, like with your body language, clapping, tapping on the shoulder, delivering stars. Here we use a lot of those glue stars. So when they excel, you give the star. I used to celebrate with my junior high school students. There was a school very peculiar. Only girls in a classroom and only boys in the other one. It was peculiar school. Not many schools are like that, but this one was like this. And the girls take a lot of time drawing, a lot of time coloring the titles. So I had to stop them and chunk the timing. As you said, what if they time? So I used to celebrate like, wow, you behave and work very well as a group. So I will draw a happy face with lashes, curly hair, like many elements. But when I had to call for the attention, hey, ladies, stop, pay attention, like I had to deal with some discipline, I delete curls. Then I delete the bow. So sometimes I delete the nose and the eyes. And the other girls say, come on, behave well so we can keep the smiley face complete. So celebrate or display, it's like showing stuff in the classroom beyond the report card or the number, or you obey me because I'm the authority. It's finding something that interests to her. So I did it first to test, like, because I felt happy and I draw the happy face and blah, blah, blah. And I say, this is a gift I'm giving to this class because you behave so well. And I realized how important it was for them. So celebration and display means like showing to them how happy you are, how pleased you are when they behave well, because this means progress. Not because you please me, because it's your progress. I celebrate your progress. And finally, a conclusion. Is it too difficult? Is it too easy? Is writing difficult for you, but listening easy for you? Like in the 4 skills, we need to conclude every unit, a group conclusion. How do you feel about learning the parts of the body? Oh, it's difficult to spell the plural of foot. I don't know. So they express ideas as a whole class. So it means the teacher cares about them. So from warm-up all the way to conclusion, it's student-centered. I recommend somebody earlier, read about student-centered. All the circle actually is the student center, not the program, not the teacher, not the school rules. It's your progress, what it's exactly always at the center. Now, about to this will really show the displaying seasons. Time to share your experience with the things we have learned. All of us in a given moment have been teaching about the seasons. Can you tell me, I'm gonna go back, what season this flower stands for? You can type it in the chat. What season does it stand for? I'm gonna read you. Spring, thank you. Now the next one, the sun, a sunny day. A sunny day stands for summer. Next one, the leaf, autumn, thank you. Fall or autumn, because of British or American, you see, and it's the same and we all understand. And the last one, the snow, winter, 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 thank you. We don't have winter in my hometown. It's very hot and the winter looks like a spring. Only February gets like pretty cold. All right, so now, thank you for your participation. In writing, here in the chat box, how would you create expectation or make a warm-up for teaching the seasons? Warm-up for the seasons unit. I'm going to teach the seasons this month. What can you do to open this unit or module? Any idea? What have you done to teach seasons? Do you teach seasons? Fantastic idea to bring it. Photos of different weather type. Is looking by the window, what's the weather like today? Exactly, it's a fantastic one. Asking about condition today, what's the weather like today? That's very good. Vocabulary practice. How do you practice the vocabulary? Today is sunny, today is hot. Don't forget your sunglasses, I don't know. I just lost my sunglasses last weekend, I'm sorry. Okay. Vocabulary practice, singing a song, thank you. Action and drilling. Will you challenge your students to write a song and sing it? Will you dare to do that? Because I have done it for high primary, 5 and 6, and they love it. They even tap like on the desk and clap to make the chant and create a song or chant. Vocabulary, memory cards, for instance. Vocabulary game. Project. Show pictures. What could be a physical project about the seasons? Flashcards was still for vocabulary. What can be a beautiful seasons project? Bring leaves and puzzle or flashcards, of course. Act out a game. The other day we saw for the rainy day with the Q-tips were the rain droplets, and it was so creative, like cotton paper on the cotton balls on the paper, and then as for the droplets, they cut the Q-tips you use like for cleaning the ears. I found it so creative and cute. Study out a class and to start, ask how the weather today. Correct. And assessment, a quiz, a dictation, match pictures to the word or definition. Now, components and unit walkthrough, because sadly we have 10 minutes of the timing. We are about to reach the end. We offer downloadable resources. They are the answer to some of your questions, downloadable. Let me tell you or explain you why we download them. And we contact the local distributor to have access to all these. For instance, these are the characters of Picture, meet Rachel, Louis, Hannah, and Jeff. And we can do very beautiful activities with these flashcards, like describing them, giving personality, action words. There are many activities we do, many games that stands for the STELT methodology. Okay, and these are the family from the Hangout book, right? So what can I do? Adjectives, clothing, appearance, personality, verbs, simple present, like you name it. There are plenty of things we can do with the flashcards. More downloadable, word list. Wait, I need to move something here. I have so many windows. Just a second. Assessment. Remember the Vygotsky? We need assessment, all right? Else we don't know the zone. Worksheets, flashcards, answer keys. These worksheets are a lot of scaffolding. Some of you mentioned like they don't actually write complete sentences. Download and print this because this is the guidance so they can start connecting word matching and scrambling. So you already have it designed directly for every module, every unit of your books. Look at this beauty. Unit test with color pictures, review, midterm, and final. Test, test, test. So if your school's philosophy is not towards a lot of evaluation, this can be worksheets that you answer together in the class, or it can be homework. I remember as a teacher said by the coordinator, Carolina, this student is misbehaving, give him extra homework. Okay, the extra homework is for me to design the extra homework, okay? So with this, you already have extra homework, extra material to be used for any case. For scaffolding, look at this beauty. The word list already has the pictures and the words. So you can remove the words, print the handout, put the words in the whiteboard so they can choose from the whiteboard, or say the words and they find them, right? So all this material provides a lot of guidance, a lot of moments for them to practice more. Games, stealth. So I have this kind of board game here, or more guided game, which is with flashcards, a timer, a board, a marker. So you gather all the material and they role play according to the unit we are learning. Online resources for teachers, beautiful. Again, you can approach your local distributor for access to this, but just for you to review that the Classbox is a tool for teachers to project. This can lead to songs, games, digital flashcards, everything in your hand. Looks like this, exactly like the book of the student. On purpose, I made the screenshot, looks like a computer. This is my computer, the ebook I can use. And the beauty of Classbox, any device, mobile, cell phone, tablet, computer, whatever that you're using, if it has internet, you can have Classbox. I was drawing an ice cream cone with a mouse. So students can draw with a mouse. Some things they can match, connect, so this becomes digitally interactive. And the QR videos, you can access the videos with QR, students as well, and teachers can access video in other ways like the classroom. Okay, so we use QR videos. Now, Marcy, this. And the videos in lower levels usually are animations, but in higher levels, we go for more realistic. In Hangout, for instance, the CLIL has real food, real house, real clothing, while the opening page has pictures or drawings. In Big Show, we have the real picture, motion pictures here in the higher levels too. Sample unit, pre-teach vocabulary. We have the pattern. We already mentioned inductive grammar, so I'm not actually giving a box of grammar, but the patterns will be there. QR codes for expansion and videos and audio. Then the listening and a comic. They can see comics, learn how they are done, and then later create their own. Reviewing of vocabulary, frame dialogue. This is performance student center for them to role play the frame dialogue. You see the lines are there, so they follow the pattern. Writing to complete sentences and phonics section. The CLIL, as we mentioned, and this QR code, if you have not opened it, do it. It's an additional reading, an animated playbook with vocabulary again, which recycles what they have seen in the unit. Another QR code for the workbook audio, the comic again, and the practice. Conclusion. If you allowed me, I would like to say that lesson planning is the backbone, is the spine of the school year. When we do a good plan for the year, like monthly, what's the unit, good lesson plan, talk to colleagues. As the questions you were asking for me today, those are fantastic Teachers Lounge questions. Talk to your colleagues, share your ideas, and those ideas, when we put them in action, we have the success. So thanks a lot for your attention. This is the moment for the questions, and Thank you for having me. Questions, please.
Okay, Miss, I would like to inform you first, because we have 4 minutes left. Maybe we can have one last question from who wants to ask directly or through the chat box, please. So if you have any question to Miss Carol, you can raise your hand or type it directly. Oh, we have one from the participant who raised their hand. Miss Siti, maybe you can unmute your microphone right away. Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So thank you. Well, first of all, it was nice to meet you, Mr. Caroline. Thank you. It has been a fruitful training. I have gained quite a lot of insights today. So thank you, and also thank you for Mentari for hosting this inspiring and also great event. Well, regarding the 4 methods, if I can say so, like the stealth one, and then 4 strands, scaffolding, also CLEO, the one that you have mentioned here. Maybe my question is on the scaffolding. First of all, when it comes to a classroom full of students, we cannot expect that the students will have the same ability, the same level of ability when it comes to English. We have high achiever student. We also have like low achiever student. Sometimes in my case, like I already planned a kind of like lesson plans, and I thought that it will be enough for all of the students. But it turns out when I actually implement the lesson plan, it turns out that the high achiever one quickly finish all of the words. And when the low achiever ones are still struggling to finish the worksheet, or let's say the exercises that I give to them, the high achiever ones are already finished and they do nothing. So I just wonder whether you have kind of like ideas to give me, so that later on, if I have this kind of situation again in my classroom, I can prepare like maybe more stuff or exercises that I can give to the high achiever students without leaving behind the low achiever ones. That's my first question. And then the second one, maybe it is related to the scaffolding. Well, when it comes to scaffolding, again, is it a kind of like linear process, like you did it and then that's all? Like you scaffold the students and that's all? Or is it a kind of like, circle?
Bouncing. Bouncing, as in the teaching tips. The scaffolding means it's artificial support. That's the definition. Artificial support while building. And the building can take all primary. It started all the way in kindergarten. So the scaffolding, it's different in primary 1, in primary 6, but more or less. And it's understanding when to give a moment, and that we should give a moment for them to perform. Even if they mix languages, like saying some words in English, some words in the L1, but they are given one moment to express ideas. That's more or less, to summarize, scaffolding means I got together with you, but I will be careful to provide a moment, and that's in the 4th strand, when it says a moment for them to perform with fluency. There are 2 moments to perform, fluency or accuracy. Like, tell me about your weekend, and I'm testing the simple past. Okay, so all the verbs, I'm challenging you to say them properly in simple past. That's accuracy, with the excuse of the weekend. Or I'm really interested about the weekend. If you say, last weekend I go to my grandma's house, perfect, I know where you went. No problem, I model. Oh, you went to your grandma's, you model that scaffolding, no correction. This is just a conversation, a playground conversation, and you model back. That's in a given way, the scaffolding. So it's not separate for the ones who finish super fast and they achieve. Let me mention briefly. In the school I work, in one of the schools I work, we had an enrichment program. It was big because students were even removed from the regular classrooms during English, and they were challenged with different books, different tasks, permission to go to the cafeteria and grab some food. It was a very special program. You can have a mini enrichment program in your classroom, like because you are able to finish first, I'm going to give you this and this task, find something they like. If they like coloring, doing comics, if they like audio, bring these things or stuff. So it's an enrichment program, and feel free to use this word. Enrichment makes me proud. All right. And I can be part of something, 2, 3, 4 students of the enrichment corner, the enrichment neighborhood, I don't know, in a way. But the kids in that school, many of them were, they had to excel at discipline and average, and they receive every month a letter from the coordinator, welcome to enrichment program. If they drop the average of grade or discipline, they are removed. It was monthly invitation. So you can make like mini cards, very welcome to my mini enrichment program, and you hand in the card, and that month you provide with something nice for them, additional to the English class. What do you think?
That's great, I think. Yeah, I think it can be applicable. Thank you.
But it's in mini. I'm bringing like it was macro, like huge, the complete school, but it works. 9:02 here. Thank you for your time. My email is there. Feel free to drop me a line with questions and comments. To my colleagues, all my gratitude. I really enjoyed this talk. If I'm invited again, I will be more than glad, and see you next week.
Educators, dear educators, as we conclude today's session, we hope that the insights that are shared have provided you with meaningful ideas to implement in your classroom settings. Mentari Group and Asta Ilmu Publishing extend our heartfelt gratitude to all attendees and look forward to the pleasure of hosting you at our next and upcoming event. So thank you very much, educators, for attending today's event, and see you later. Also, goodbye. Thank you.